What up, heel faction? Welcome back to Heel Shit. Why do we call it that? Because bad guys do heel shit. I'm Dark Chords, that's Draven Grimes, this is our boy from Snug Wrestling, and this is the first episode of the reinvigorated Week in Wrestling. Every Tuesday night right here, Edgar from Snug is going to bring the news, we're going to discuss it, and at the end of the show, you're going to know what the fuck's happened last week. All right, we'll get into it right after this.
Cool. Living fast, we ain't slowing down. Always ready to turn heads around. Heel shit podcast, where the bad boys reign. Never following the norm, always causing pain.
How you doing, fellas?
Somebody been fucking with my titles.
Oh, shit.
I'm doing good. I'm better than I was Thanksgiving. So
Well, that's good.
yes.
How you doing, Edgar?
Same, dude. Same. I'm doing better than I was Thanksgiving too.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, pretty much copacetic all the way around. So what
At
do we?
least you were able to eat, you motherfucker.
Yeah, but I wasn't able to drink. That's what I really wanted to do.
Yes, sir.
We got 2 holidays coming up. You can make up for it there.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yes.
All right, so we got some news going on this week. What's been up?
Yeah, so now that we're approaching the end of the year, starting the new year 2025 here pretty soon, WWE is going to be going to Netflix. And there was a lot of rumors, reports, and speculation about when the WWE does the change over to Netflix from cable TV. What are we gonna expect? Is it gonna be the same type of product, or is it gonna be a product that focuses more on like adults and like maybe like PG-14? Especially with like a lot of the things that we see on Netflix, a lot of the programs on there are pretty freaking, like adult content. So the rumor was that the WWE could potentially lose its shackles of being restricted, and they'll have more freedom on Netflix starting the new year. But it turned out that is total bullshit. The WWE does not plan to change its rating, and they're going to maintain the same thing that they're doing now, which is focusing. This is a kid-friendly, safe show,
Mm-hmm.
and even Netflix and WWE both agree that this is the best thing to do for their product and for their audience, and they're calling it a multi-generational fan base. So they're going to be focusing on the younger crowd, the younger viewers on Netflix. Unfortunately, I had some hope, man. We had some hope, especially with everything that we were seeing with The Rock and Cody Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
It was getting a little bit edgier, and we some of us were hoping that maybe we could even see the Attitude Era come back. But WWE said nah. They felt that if they changed the rating and focus more on adults content, it would alienate, this is how they put it, their audience. So with that being said, you guys, now that we know that WWE is going to be staying in the PG, do you think this is going to affect their product in a negative way? Because some people were kind of hoping that it would be like adult content.
Yeah, and Draven and I had spoken about this briefly, I guess it was last night, but the problem that we're running into with that hope and dream that they would go back to TV 14 is the fact that they're still going to rely on ads. Mm-hmm. And I think that is the main issue. Like, they're still going to have to curry favor with advertisers, do commercial breaks, sponsors, all that shit. It's basically... I mean, it's almost going to be as if we were watching the shit on USA, because you got commercial breaks, you got, everything's going to be exactly the same. Now, if they were like a completely commercial free, event, then yeah, they would probably make it a little more edgy. But with the commercials and stuff, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I agree with you. But here's the thing that we've been seeing over the last year, with especially with Triple H taking the reins. He knows how to get the most out of the least.
Yeah,
Um, as far as the content that people were expecting on Netflix, the more adult oriented stuff like that. It's not saying that that's not going to happen down the road.
hmm
Obviously, since now they have the freedom to do so, they can push that barrier when needed. I don't think night one, first person come out, we introduced Seth fucking Rollins. It was still kind of a shock to me when they were referring to him as Seth freaking Rollins for the first couple of months.
mm
I was like, as a parent, that doesn't sit right with me because I have younger children. I don't want them run around freaking this, freaking that. I mean, at
hmm
that point, say fuck. The freak is like the center version of fuck to me in this house, and
yeah, that's what it is.
now, now that they're becoming teenagers, they take full advantage of that. But that's neither here nor there. Now as far as the content that I'm thinking I'm going to be seeing, it's more of how they can tell the story. It's not necessarily the language that they can use, it's the storytelling aspect. They're going to be able to push the boundaries on their storytelling. I mean, look at how they've been pushing Drew McIntyre for the last year or so. You did not see this Drew McIntyre ever. And now this feels almost real with how he just does what he wants when he wants, how he wants. And it doesn't necessarily mean he has to use 4-letter words every damn time.
Sure.
Another instance is Kevin Owens and how they're booking him. When's the last time you saw a power driver on WWE TV? 2014 with John Cena and CM Punk. Prior to that, you haven't seen a fucking power driver since the late 90s.
hmm
And they kept the aura around the power driver, which is another example of them loosening the reins and that version of storytelling. So I can see where a lot of people's disappointed and upset that they're not going to hear fuck, bastard, cunt, fuck, any 4-letter word. But you don't need to do that in order to tell a story. Um, you know, AEW, once their rating went up a little bit and they said shit in every other segment. Yes, the shock and awe of it was nice for a few shows, but after a while it got boring. And everybody still says shit and damn and son of a bitch and asshole. And again, it's just one of those trying to get a cheap pop for that moment. Whereas
Well,
go
also
back
their
and,
rating is TV 14 though,
but
so
still,
yeah.
even when WWE was TV 14, they weren't going out there screaming shit every time. I mean, obviously we had Austin out there drinking beer, throwing two fingers up and shit like that, but they didn't rely
The
too much
Rock
on.
ended basically every sentence with "bitch." Come on,
Yeah,
bitch. It wasn't. They cursed plenty back then.
yes, but still, they're. I guess it's just how I was brought up. Bitch and shit are on two different fucking levels. Like in my household, shit and fuck were like the top of the 4-letter word.
Mm,
Where bitch, bastard, ass, damn, stuff like that was like, if it slips, it slips. But if you say shit or fuck, you eating the soap, my guy. And plenty of fucking Libra 2000. Believe me, not a sponsor. But again, this just goes back to people were expecting certain things without having any confirmation of it. And now that they have confirmation of it, now they're going to bitch, whine, and complain.
sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I guess my biggest concern is like we were starting to see a little bit like more edgier stuff now in the WWE. Um, they were kind of trying to like push it a little bit. Now I'm
Mm,
starting to think like maybe they're just doing that because once they go into Netflix, they're gonna really clean it up and go back to like really PG stuff. Like they want to focus mostly like on storytelling
well,
and stay away from like that shock value.
I mean that's kind of the benefit of me having an extra layer of knowledge from being an entertainment lawyer for so long. I've negotiated TV distribution rights deals and stuff like that. We have no idea what parameters Netflix is demanding. Since they are depending on ads on this, we don't. There's been a lot of speculation, but we don't know that since they signed that deal, even if they had the option to do that. You know, so I think H has gotten a good grasp on the boundary he can push to still be within the PG rating, and I think he'll push that on occasion, just like they've been doing. But I don't anticipate the rating to ever go up anytime soon.
No, it's not saying that they would bring the rating up, but there's going to be times where, like you said, they push the boundary to its very limit. Similar to how they did the whole thing with Cody and Rock last year. Rock just beat the teetotal fuck out of them at the end of the show and basically just bleeping out every other fucking word because it was shit that they couldn't play. So,
Well, obviously it was pre-recorded and edited, but yeah.
But still, I mean, it's one of those things where they don't have to push the boundary every week, but they'll know when to put. It's kind of like when we're putting together a match. We bring it up, and when we need to bring it back down, we'll bring it back down. But when we need to spike that shit up, we'll spike it up when it's needed. And that I think that's how Triple H is kind of booking out everything as far as the Netflix era is concerned.
All right. Any final thoughts before we wrap this story up?
No, I think I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, I'm about right there with you. So shut up, bitch, and let him talk.
Well, now that we're on this topic of Netflix, this next topic, I thought it was pretty interesting. Now please note this is something that I read from good old the Wrestling Observer, so I don't take anything from this really seriously. But good old Dave does bring up a couple good points here that I wanted to get your guys' opinion on.
Okay.
So Monday Night Raw is no longer going to be on USA starting the new year, but SmackDown is going to be starting the new year. The reports that are going around now is that eventually SmackDown is going to turn into a 3-hour show, which it does make sense if you think about it, because Raw leaving USA, that's going to leave a big gap in that USA network where the average 1.1 million viewers, I believe, that Raw does on a weekly basis, that's going to be gone now that Monday Night Raw is going to be going over to Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
So the USA Network is most likely going to try to find a way to fill that gap with possibly a third hour of Friday Night SmackDown. So with that being said, according to Dave Meltzer, again, taking it with a grain of salt, the first third hour of SmackDown is supposedly going to be January 3rd, which is the Friday before the first Monday Night Raw that goes on to Netflix. So again, I don't know how completely true that is, but how would you guys feel about seeing a 3-hour Friday Night SmackDown every Friday night, every week moving forward, starting the new year?
Well, my first question is, do we know that SmackDown is going to be on Fridays?
So far, yes, I believe. Well, nothing has been said of SmackDown being moved just yet. I believe as of now, it's still on Fridays.
Okay. All right.
So again, you said this came from Meltzer, and well, Dark knows how I feel about Dave. He can go eat corn the long way as far as I'm concerned. But as far as the third hour, color me old school on this, but I've always felt that a 3-hour wrestling show was too much.
I think so too. Yeah.
And I think the point was kind of proven when Raw went back to 2 hours, and they went back to a more smooth way of doing their broadcast, where when they were doing 3 hours, they were really stretching shit out. And I understand, with that extra hour becomes more opportunities for more people. But when it was only 2 hours, and Raw is really attesting to this right now, since they're doing a little 2-hour slot until they go to Netflix, it's really pushed people to do better and want to do more, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's on Raw, whether it's on their social media, whether it's on Speed, whether um, their YouTube shows that they do, their Twitch streaming or whatever the fuck they're doing. They're doing whatever they need to self promote to get eyes on their brand.
Right.
So, does 3 hour SmackDown make sense? It does, but again, um, I remember when, what was it, like 2004, 2005 was like the first time I ever heard of a 3 hour Raw, and they made it a special thing. And whenever we had a 3 hour Raw, it meant something big was happening or the show was more meaningful until they just went to 3 hours non-fucking stop, in which case I got bored an hour into it because, let's be real, you go back and watch Monday Night Raw from like 2013 to 2017, the first 30 minutes is a promo,
Mm-hmm.
followed by a 10-minute match, followed by another 30 minutes of backstage antics or in-ring
Right.
promo into another match. I mean,
Yeah.
Cornette's very controversial in the show. I'm for him, Dark's against him. But one thing Corny's always done is when he was breaking down his analysis for shows, he would actually break down the minutes per wrestling and minutes per promos. And for a 3 hour Raw, you had basically 40 minutes of wrestling, and the rest was promos and backstage altercations.
Right.
So
Yeah, the error was ridiculous.
yeah, so I just feel with a 2 hour segment, it condenses all the backstage bullshit and in-ring promos unless they actually mean something, and you get more wrestling on a 2 hour show. That's just my thought process.
Yeah, I think so too. It's a faster show. I would. Oh, well, all right then.
Hey, can you hear us?
All right, we got you now.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh,
How you doing?
outstanding. How are you guys? Good that you
Uh,
showed up. Appreciate it. Appreciate
yeah, yeah.
it.
Just here with my magnesium citrate, not a sponsor.
What were we talking about?
You were just agreeing with me about how
Yeah,
2 hours just felt more fluid.
yeah. I love SmackDown right now. I think Raw is kind of falling down a little bit, but I think SmackDown is perfect right now, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd hate to see another hour of it.
Yeah.
And do we know if now you guys remind me because I don't remember once Raw goes over to Netflix, is it going to go back to 3 hours? Is that what they're doing?
I think so.
3 hours. Yep.
Hey.
Yeesh.
Damn, can you guys imagine 3 hours of Raw and 3 hours of SmackDown? What the fuck, man?
Well, the good thing, at least for Raw going on Netflix, is I'm able to pause
Right.
it, so I can
Mhm.
get my fill for an hour, take a walk, come back, get another hour.
True.
And that's my problem. I watch Raw and I watch SmackDown like I would watch a movie.
Hmm.
Um, very rarely will I sit down and watch a 3 hour movie or 4 hour movie. The only exceptions would be Snyder Cut or Endgame / Infinity War. Other than that, if
You
it's
know
a
you
3 hour
can
movie,
pause live TV now, right?
I'm old school. We've already gone through this. But still, if I'm sitting there and I'm watching a movie, I don't want to pause it. I want to get through the movie. Same thing with wrestling.
Right.
And I feel with the
Mhm.
2 hour show, it's just easier to digest.
Yeah.
Lot less
Yeah.
fat on this meat.
I find myself wanting more, whereas when I watch Raw, I'm like hoping that it ends soon. Like, and I think it's
Mm-hmm.
that last hour. I mean, it makes a huge difference.
Mhm. No, it
Correct.
does, dude. Especially this past episode of Raw, and sometimes like even the SmackDown shows. Sometimes they just feel like I don't know, man. Like they're not even trying. Sometimes like they're. I feel bad for the people sometimes that pay hundreds of dollars to go to these shows, and I'm just like, not much, not a whole lot is happening. At least not every week. Some
Right.
days yes, but it's not every week where it's like popping.
Well, I mean, And that's just part of the business. You're going to have some good shows. You're going to have some bad shows as far as the writing is concerned. Otherwise, at what point is you're the climax? You know what I mean? Like if we just start from the first of the month and we just build all the way up to week 4 and we haven't brought it down any, what the fuck are we going to do with a fucking pay-per-view? And after that pay-per-view, do we keep going up or do we bring it back down to base level for week 1 of the next month? So I get having good shows and bad shows. I mean, anybody that's worked independent shows will tell you, not every show is going to be a banger. Sometimes it's fucking dog shit. But I mean, that's just part of the game.
Yeah, makes sense for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But as far as Uncle Dave's concerned, he can just go choke on a whole bag of dicks.
Yeah, he said January 3rd. According to him, January 3rd is going to be the first 3-hour SmackDown.
All right.
We'll see.
Pause. There's some cocksucker on Kick that's about to get the shit. Motherfucker, sit there and watch my shit and thank you for the fucking engagement, all right? Tell your mom to save me a plate and I'll be over. You're going to hear us, so don't worry about the noise, all right?
Oh. Cords is being cordsy tonight, I see.
Letting them have it.
Hey, sometimes you got to.
Right.
I mean, for fuck's sake. People jump on this shit all the time.
Not even worth the shit, but look. Feel free to... We can get together. I mean...
Name the time and the place.
Look, good publicity, bad publicity, either way, it's fucking publicity. The fact that you're on our fucking channel means you are a sad little fucking cunt. Just trying to start shit with fucking guys that actually know what the fuck they're talking about.
Hey, if it's so fake, come on down to Jacksonville, Florida. We can get together and we can talk about how fake the wrestling is.
Mm-hmm.
If not, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
All right. So,
moving on.
Let's throw it to our first commercial break real quick, and we will be right back. Let me introduce you to our new sponsor, Smackin' Sunflower Seeds. Check this out. They sent us this huge box of samples with all these amazing flavors, from traditional flavors like the OG and ranch, to unique flavors like cinnamon churro and my favorite, backyard barbecue.
Absolutely, man. Let's not forget the garlic parmesan, the cracked black pepper, and my personal favorite, the maple brown sugar. It is grade A, phenomenal, my guy.
So me, Draven, and Miner all sat down, went through all these flavors. Of course, we each had our favorite, but one thing we agreed on, this is an amazing brand. If you're a sunflower seed eater, definitely need to check this out. If you're not a sunflower seed eater, you still need to check these out because they got a flavor that you like without question. Miner's favorite was dill pickle. I like the barbecue. Use the link in the description and enjoy. All right, guys, how are you doing? Back from commercial. All right, what you got next?
Ah, man, I saved the best for last. These topics right here are always my favorite to discuss because I'm going to put you guys on the spot and I'm going to interested to see what you guys really think about this one. So we're going to switch gears. We're going to go over to AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. All right.
Recently, Eric Bischoff did an interview with Ariel Helwani on his show. Eric Bischoff was on there to promote his next appearance that he did on NXT and also promote some stuff that Eric Bischoff is going to be doing with MLW. And somehow the conversation with Eric and Ariel Helwani turned into talking about AEW, which I thought was really, really interesting because as we all know, Eric Bischoff does not shy away to really tell the people how he feels about AEW. One of the questions that Ariel Helwani asked Eric Bischoff during this interview was, does Eric Bischoff think that AEW has a chance to switch things around and improve, get better ratings, better ticket sales, this, that, and the other? Which Eric Bischoff said, no, AEW has no hope for this. Which, of course, Tony Khan, he caught wind of this, and this was brought up to Tony Khan's attention during his interview with the 105.3, The Fan in Dallas, which Tony Khan responded and said a whole bunch of things, starting off with something along the lines of, not throwing rocks if you live in a glass house or something along those
Mhm.
lines.
Mm-hmm.
And saying all these things, that he doesn't agree with Eric Bischoff. Obviously, Tony Khan being the owner of AEW, he's going to say a lot of positive things about this company, how they're going over to Max, how they're doing all these great things with AEW being a new company, this, that, and the other. So I have the quotes here. I don't really remember exactly what Tony Khan said, but basically, how do you guys feel about this whole situation that we're witnessing with AEW? And also, if you're Tony Khan, like at what point do you say, you know what, maybe I got to start listening to some of these people? Or are you guys just like, you know what, fuck the haters and I'm gonna keep doing the same thing?
Dark, you go first on this one.
You know all that shit y'all just said about Dave? Yeah, that applies to my opinion of Eric Bischoff also. All right? This motherfucker, after about the year 1998, what the fuck has he done? He's run a $1 billion company into the ground. He went on NXT last week and they had the lowest rating of the year. Like, who the fuck is Eric Bischoff, and why does he think he can still run his fucking mouth? Look, you caught a fucking firebug with the NWO. Congratulations. Other than that, you haven't done a goddamn thing in the industry. All right, you suck Vince's dick to get a general manager position on the television. Who the fuck is Eric Bischoff, man? I'm fucking tired of him running his goddamn cockwasher. He runs his mouth all the fucking time. He never says anything worth a shit. Look, we know you don't like AEW, and it's not that you don't like AEW. You don't like Tony Khan personally because he wouldn't give you money. I mean, that's bottom line. So you go and you spend 99% of the time on your podcast making fun of Tony Khan and AEW. You should be fucking paying them for giving you shit to talk about every fucking day. Look, whatever. There's nothing that Eric Bischoff says that I take even the slightest bit seriously, and he can go fuck himself, quite frankly.
Okay, so let's get back to the question at hand of what Snug here was saying. Do you think Tony is just like fuck all the haters? Do you think he needs to start taking some advice from? It's not just Bischoff. There's other guys that saying similar things.
I think he's taken some advice from the people that he is close with. I mean, I think he's taken advice from people like Daniel Bryan and like John Moxley. I think, he's not trying to be WWE. They just gotta find their way because they put on the best pay-per-views. I mean, I'll go out on that limb. Their wrestling and their pay-per-views is fucking phenomenal. All right.
Debatable.
So it's not debatable. There was one fucking show that was bad.
It's not even that, dude. It's just, again, you're an AEW fan. I'm not an AEW fan. It's your preferred style of wrestling, whereas I'm more of, I want a slower pace. I want a story told. I just can't get into these 8-man fucking tag team scrambled egg fucking death matches that they fucking do. It's just, it makes no sense.
It makes a lot of sense to base that on like the most untypical match that they could possibly fucking put together. I mean,
but it's not even that. I mean, go watch basic tag team matches. I mean, a lot of the times, part of a tag team match is the fucking tag, and when 60 to 70% of the fucking tag team match is fucking all 4 guys in there, and the referee's just sitting there twiddling his fucking thumbs, rubbing his fucking dick or clit, whichever one's in the fucking ring at the time, it loses the fucking story, loses the fucking point, other than, oh, we get the 3 count right here.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I agree that there's some of that there, but I mean, tag teams like FTR don't do that shit. Um,
They're the exception. They
Tag teams like Th- Kings of the Black Throne don't do that. They're
oh, but they do. They do.
mm,
All
Wait, so
every tech team. Even FTR to a point even fucking gets into that shit. But they also know when to fucking pull that shit back. A lot of the teams there are newer generation that work on the quote unquote super indie bullshit style.
yeah.
I mean, to me, AEW is nothing more than PWG with fucking bank account. And that's why 90% of them have fucking jobs.
That's why 90% of them had jobs.
Yeah. But going back to what Snug was talking about, I think with how he's been having to pull back and work smaller buildings, he really needs to like reassess the entirety of his situation. Because yes, you were red hot for the first couple of years, but then you started noticing your numbers dwindling, and now because of these numbers dwindling, you're having to go into these smaller venues. At what point do you quit hemorrhaging money? At what point do you start cutting some fucking talent that needs to be fucking trimmed? I mean, let's face it. Even WWE knows when to trim the fucking fat, so to speak. Um, he used to have all these shows. He had Dark Elevation, he had Collision. What was the fucking Friday night show?
Rampage.
Rampage. And now it seems like he's just cutting back on a lot of this shit. It's time for him to find out where his priorities lie as far as what storylines need to fucking work, what guys you want to fucking keep, and what guys you need to unfortunately cut. That's just part of this business.
Mm-hmm.
And he just seems to be that guy where he's just too nice and he can't just fucking say no to somebody. And we've talked about this. He needs somebody in that locker room that could put their fucking foot down. He needs to be able to delegate the day-to-day activities and quit putting everything on his fucking shoulders. That's the one thing Vince understood in the fucking 90s. Yes, a lot of shit had to run through Vince at the end, but a lot of that shit had to get delegated from the guys downstairs that approved of that shit to get it to fucking Vince. So like, all right, this is a yes or no kind of thing. Whereas Tony is just sitting there mentally coked out, and I'm not saying he's fucking on cocaine, but mentally he's coked out because he has so many fucking decisions that he has to make on a daily fucking basis. And it's gonna come to a head where he has a fucking mental breakdown. And at that point, what happens then?
No, I agree with you. He needs more agents. He needs more writers. I understand.
He needs to quit being so fucking nice. He needs to start taking the advice. And I'm not saying Bischoff per se. I'm not saying corny per se. But you got guys like fucking Tommy Dreamer, Rob Van Dam. You got guys like Scott D'Amore who have all offered their services. But because he doesn't like what they have to say, he doesn't bring them in.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things. It's one of those things, in my opinion, where he's like, we can do business if you agree with what I agree with, but if you're not one of those guys that will fucking just agree with me and move on with it, then we can't do fucking business.
Right. Yeah.
That's why I was kind of excited with the whole Shane McMahon situation, because say what you will, Shane comes from that fucking royalty. He knows how to fucking be able to run a fucking business.
Mm-hmm.
And he could be that guy to tell Tony, this is a bad fucking idea. Do not do this, or we're not going to do this tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have the exact quotes here, just really quick, that Tony Khan had to say. This is an article from Wrestling Inc., where Tony Khan was quoted. I don't really care what he says, referring to Eric Bischoff. We've done really, really well, and we've got a great thing going with AEW. We've got something really, really to be proud of. We not only are going to be for years to come doing shows on TBS and TNT, we're going to set the record for the longest run of pro wrestling ever on TNT. In fact, he also continued by saying it's pretty amazing because for a company that's only 5 years old, we've accomplished so much. Like I said, we set the world record for wrestling ticket sales, and we're just going into a new media rights deal that is historic, and it hasn't even kicked in yet.
Yeah,
Tony
I mean,
Khan's still, you know,
they have
bringing in
a
the Wembley into this.
they have a reprieve right now that they're going to be profitable for the next few years. And yeah, something's got to change. I mean, he's he's got a mad successful business outside of AEW, so he knows how to run business. So hopefully he'll realize that there's some changes that's got to be made.
Well, I mean, his dad Shad does it every year. Sometimes he's got to cut the fucking trim. He has to trim the fat from the fucking team of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And you know, a lot of the times we don't agree with the decisions that are made.
Sure.
But the fact of the matter is, those decisions are made. And in my opinion, Tony just can't be that guy to cut the fat. I mean, other than Punk, other than Jimmy Havoc, and a select very few others, I could probably name on two hands everybody he's had to release from contract in the last 5 years. Whereas WWE will fucking drop 30, 40 in a what, 3-week time span, a month time span.
Yeah, but
You know,
I mean,
at some point, you got to quit being the nice guy. At some point, you got to be the fucking boss. And he is just not been pushed to that level yet because he has guys like the Young Fucks. He has guys like fucking Adam Page. He has guys like Kenny Omega in their fucking ear, always saying, we need to keep them because down the road, we can use them. Yes, you can use them down the road, which means you can rehire them when you need them. You don't need to keep paying them all this fucking money. You want a good fucking example? Ricky fucking Stark. And I said something to you yesterday because I wanted to bring it up last night. We just didn't get to it. But, you know, Ricky Stark did the interview with CVV, and he basically came out and said, without actually saying it, you know, I'm being punished and being forced to sit home. Where, you know, guys who are in favor with and Tony's goodwill get to go out there every week and do whatever the fuck they want. You want a good fucking example of it? Ricky Stark was supposed to work Matt Cardona at the GCW show coming up. And Tony basically said, nope, you're not allowed to do that. And in the same week he did that, he brought Matt Cardona on the Ring of Honor to work fucking Jericho.
That's what I saw, yeah. I also read somewhere recently that Willie Mack, I believe that's his name, was also pulled from a few GCW events.
It's one of those things where, you know, you got to play his game or you're just not going to fucking play at all. I mean, Ricky's been sitting at home since fucking March.
Let's
He's not
put
injured.
this into
He's
some fucking
fine.
perspective, though. Okay, he's exactly what we dealt with for Vince for 30 years. All right, he whoever's in his favor, whoever sucks his dick gets put on TV, and whoever he doesn't like doesn't get put on fucking TV. I mean, at what point do you have to say, look, we're asking a lot from a company that does a hell of a lot more for its wrestlers than any other one? All right, they get insurance, they get travel paid for, they get the option to work other places. When's the last time someone in WWE was at GCW?
Shannon Baszler earlier this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You got AJ Styles and Shinsuke going over to fucking Japan and working shows there.
One.
No, it's been multiple, dude. Shinsuke's worked at least 4 shows.
Look,
And
Yeah,
that's
you can try to grasp at straws, and that's fine. But they've been doing it for AEW wrestlers the entire time. I mean, how many companies has Moxley worked for? How many companies has a lot of their workers worked for? And you're complaining because he wouldn't let them on GCW? I mean, that's...
No, I'm complaining because Ricky Starks has been sitting home since fucking March 30th, unable to fucking do fucking shit, because every time it gets brought up, unless it's a lower level fucking indie show, Tony Khan has been shooting it the fuck down. He fucking tells him that he can't fucking go work it.
I don't know what the problem is there.
I can tell you what the fucking problem is, because he spoke out positively about CM Punk during the fucking bullshit. He spoke out positively about Cody Rhodes since his fucking departure.
Also, I don't think Ricky Stark showing up at Royal Rumble and getting caught by security, the cameras also helped either.
No, but the thing is, he was at fucking WrestleMania this year. He was at WrestleMania last year. And people were fucking shooting that shit, and that was not a fucking problem. It only became a problem when the fucking rumors of Ricky Starks fucking not resigning and fucking going to WWE because he's Cody's boy. That's what it boils down to.
Do you think that it could have something to do with WWE contract tampering and him being acquiescing to them contract tampering? I mean, you hear what Stark says, but you don't know what the business is behind it.
Okay, so why wasn't fucking Arn Anderson? Why wasn't fucking Goldust? Why wasn't all of them fucking punished the same way fucking Ricky Starks is being punished?
Arn Anderson doesn't work there anymore.
But even when he was still going to fucking WWE events.
No.
I mean, this just feels like, Ricky's being fucking
and maybe it is
targeted.
Maybe it is in this one scenario.
But going back to the whole thing of us, complaining about what Tony's when Vince was doing the whole thing fucking 30 years ago. Vince only had a handful of fucking guys compared to what Tony fucking has now. He knows when to fucking trim the fucking fat. And the thing is, even if he didn't put you on the two main fucking shows, he still gave you fucking opportunities on house shows, and he gave you fucking opportunities on fucking Heat and Velocity. The only time you really fucked up with Vince is you either didn't suck his dick, didn't let him fucking shit on your fucking forehead, or you fucking went way out of fucking bounds.
Still happened a lot more than it happens in AEW.
WWE's also been around a lot longer than AEW.
I'm not talking about its entire history. I'm talking about in specific times.
Okay, give me a fucking time frame.
Let's see. How about any of the women's division in the late 90s and early 2000s?
What fucking women's division?
The ones who sucked his dick were on TV. I mean, what are you talking about?
Dude,
we're talking about the time during the Attitude Era, and then during the time with like Caitlyn and all of them, Ashley Mazzaro. Like, this is not a secret. Like,
But the thing is, you're talking about the late 90s where it was other than Sable, Jacqueline, the Cat, and fucking Ivory on fucking TV. There was no fucking women's division. That shit didn't get built up till fucking after the fucking Attitude Era in 2002, moving on with Trish, Lita, Mickie James, Victoria, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And even then, even though it wasn't the fucking headliner, they were still given opportunities. Otherwise, Trish and Lita in 2003 would not have fucking main evented a Monday Night Raw. That would not have fucking happened. Gail Kim would not have won the fucking women's championship in her first fucking night on Monday Night Raw. I mean, the opportunities were fucking there. But we don't talk about that.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
was the women's division in WWE the best it could be? Absolutely fucking not. I mean, in fucking 2004 to 2007, 2008, I will always say fucking the TNA women's division was bar none the best women's division ever in the history of pro wrestling. That outdoes fucking AEW, that outdoes fucking WCW, that outdoes fucking WWE, New Japan, GCW, wherever.
Yeah, I could probably agree with you.
WCW had a women's division?
Very, very small.
A little bit.
Towards the end of it.
Yeah. That
was a Russo thing. He just wanted to see women in tights and Stacy Keibler shake her ass on the second rope, which we all were wanting to be the second rope when Stacy Keibler came out. Let's just be real.
Mm-hmm.
That's neither here nor there.
I mean, yeah, and I think that the problems are probably amplified by how well WWE is doing right now. Like, I don't think any of this would be such a big deal if it was still under Vince's tyrannical hand. But good for them. Good for WWE. I mean, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. AEW has to figure out a way to work on their storytelling better, their programs better.
It's easy. Hire me as a writer. It's easy. Put fucking Samoa Joe in the backstage area as a fucking locker room leader to fucking settle scores.
All right.
But yeah, back to the first one. Hire us as writers. I will fucking make y'all buku the money. Let's be real.
I think so too.
Oh,
so what you think, Snug? You think you got any opinions on this?
I just thought Tony Khan's comments, his quotes were kind of interesting because he said it, a key word right here, and it hasn't kicked in yet. He's talking about the new rights deal.
Right.
And I think
Mhm.
that's really important to highlight, because just because they got the rights deal, just because they're going to be going on Max, that doesn't mean that it's going to work. That doesn't mean it's going to be successful. We don't really know until it actually kicks in if it's going to improve or not, or if it's going to change at all.
I don't know
Mhm.
what metrics they would use. Like, to me, if I'm Netflix or if I'm Max, what do I expect the result to be? Like, are you expecting a shit ton more subscribers because that happened? I mean, you might get a
You might
million
get,
more, but it's not going to be something crazy significant.
I'd say you get like a 20% boost in your subscriptions when it first happens. And
I
it
mean,
also and then
how else
also
do they make
depends.
money?
I mean, it also depends on when they do the switch over to Max. Are pay-per-views included, or is that going to be like at a discounted price, or are you still going to charge us full price
He,
just having it air on
I
Max?
think I saw he confirmed that All In was going to be on Max, so hopefully the pay-per-views
Well,
are.
Pay-per-views are going to be on Max at a discounted price.
see, that's where they're kind of trying to do what TNA did when they first relaunched the TNA wrestling app. They wanted to put everything at a discounted price, but TNA figured out real quick, motherfuckers ain't paying that discounted price when they can just go fucking pirate it off a fucking stream somewhere. So now it's just included, and they just raised the price ever so slightly. So instead of $9.99, it's now $14.99, and you get the fucking pay-per-views every month.
I got you.
So maybe down the road they'll be like, there'll be an AEW thing where you pay the base price of, what is it, like $12, $15, something like that for Max right now, without subscriptions, where you pay an extra $5, you get
I
the
think I
AEW
paid.
experience.
I think I paid $10.99.
Bitch, you have fucking Max and you haven't given me your password? I'm offended. Fuck you.
I literally just got it with the hope of AEW coming up.
Dude, I want to get it back because I just want to catch up on all the DC stuff, but I have so many streaming things I fucking pay for already. It's not even funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to probably trim some fat also.
Just get a bad gallbladder. You'll trim all the fat you want. I promise. Yeah. But going back to this, to the original question, I just feel Tony needs to find other people other than fucking yes men or his EVPs to fucking help him make decisions. He needs to find somebody that's willing to tell him no.
Yeah.
And here's why we're going to tell you no.
Right.
Yeah, like Eric Bischoff. Hire him.
No, not Bischoff. I listen to 83 Weeks semi-regularly. And yes, he does down AEW quite a bit, and he sucks his own dick quite a bit.
No, Eric, no.
But and Dark's probably gonna roll his eyes at this.
He's like that dude in he's like the crippled dude in Haunted House 2, or what was it? Scream 2, where he's like, I don't need you, and that's Eric Bischoff. All right?
Scary movie.
Scary Movie 2, the you familiar with the spoof? Snug, are you familiar with it? They're a spoof
Yeah,
horror
the little
movie.
guy with the hand.
Yes,
The little guy,
and there's one of the
I don't
guys.
need your help.
There's one of the guys in a wheelchair, and the girl is all hitting on him, trying to get him to do something, and he was like, "I don't need you," and he fucking puts his head down. And he's like, "I'm tossing my own salad. I'm tossing my."
Just goes to town on himself. That's Eric. Huh?
That's Eric Bischoff.
But I feel he needs somebody that. How can I put this nicely? He needs a politically correct version of a Jim Cornette. You know what I mean? Like he just needs that. He just needs like that wrestling mind, and I feel that he really kind of dropped the ball.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Fucking let Arn go. Arn could be that guy.
Yeah.
Of course, they still got guys like Christopher Daniels, Jerry Lynn, and others like that, which are great fucking wrestling minds. But they're of basically my generation, the Dark's generation of the way, wrestling's ran, where it's
Well-
one of those things. It's one of those things where I feel AEW needs a touch of the old school. And I'm not saying that like, stop the flippy shit and all that bullshit, but it needs a touch of old school as far as how to tell a story.
Yeah, definitely could use it. Definitely could use it.
I mean, that's why, the CM Punk stories with MJF fucking came off fucking great. The fucking Punk shit with Eddie Kingston, that fucking came off great. The fucking John Moxley, Eddie Kingston stuff in the beginning, that came off fucking great. Because they had older guys helping with the fucking shit to move it along. Now it just feels, well, Chris, Jericho, do you have anything to say? Ocho, okay, got it. He just wants some bubbly. He don't give a fuck. He'll just go do what the fuck you want to do. That's what it feels like every week. That's why I don't care for AEW. It just feels like everybody goes out there and what Brian Cage says, get my shit in.
Right.
GMSI. That's what it feels like every week. It don't matter what the fucking match is, as long as you get all your fucking spots in, I get all my fucking spots in, and we all do fucking 9 Canadian destroyers, we're fucking good to go.
Right.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that about wrap up the news for this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's all I had for this week. Yep.
Outstanding. Well,
I had fucking fun tonight.
I had a great time. Yeah, I think this is gonna work out. This is gonna work
Oh
out.
God help us when we're in the same room doing this.
Yeah, no shit.
Poor Elwood.
Well, do you want to do the pleasantries?
I guess I can. Ladies and gentlemen, do not forget this coming up Thursday night is Talking Shit with your boys, Darkcore, Draven Grimes, where we're just gonna sit around and talk shit and probably cuss each other out for fucking 30 minutes because we disagreed on something, because that's what we do, and then we move on from it. And let's not forget HSP Live number 99. We are going over our top HSP moments of 2024. That's going to be fucking fun. Snug, you want to fill them in on your podcast real quick?
Yeah, check me out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, the Snug Wrestling Podcast. I have a new episode coming out this Thursday with my buddy Taylor from Jaded Wrestling TV, where we talked about his awkward encounter with Pac from the Blackpool Combat Club. So check that out on Thursday. So it's a fun time.
Oh,
Heck yeah. And let me correct that. It's the Death Riders now. Just saying.
Oh,
the club is dead. So yeah, check out Snug Thursday before you check us out on Talking Shit. And ladies and gentlemen, we got one more thing. Don't forget to check out all the social media platforms at Heel Shit Podcast. Don't forget, check out Snug at Snug Wrestling on YouTube and all the various other podcasting outlets and social medias and the whatnots. And last but not least, do not forget the merch.
The merch
is beautiful.
Yes, sir.
As always, we have the Heel Shit Podcast merchandise. We have Talking Shit merchandise. We have the Forbidden Kingdom merchandise. We have the Retro Draven Grimes, the Retro Dark Cords. We have a new Dark Cords piece of merch on the site now. It is glorious. It is beautiful. We have another piece of merch that's going to drop before the holidays. Make sure you get it in before the fucking holidays. That way you can get the holiday pricing, which we're going to figure out some point between now and this weekend. So yeah, check that out. And let's see, don't forget about the poll. Watch a shirt, because every stripper needs somebody to watch that poll. And don't forget the Fuck Logan Paul shirt and the uncensored and the censored one for the fucking snowflakes out there. And with that, I think I am done, sir.
All right. Well, thank you, Snug. We'll see you next Tuesday. Guys, this new show is going to happen every Tuesday at this time, the Weekend Wrestling. So, for Draven Grimes and Snug Wrestling, I'm Dark Cords. This has been Heel Shit. Why do we call it that? Because bad guys do heel shit. Peace.
Later.
Heel Shit Podcast.